What's up, y'all, man? This is the post-game recap for me, Aaron Duncan, with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. Y'all know me, man. I am your captain of the bandwagon. No captain hat today because we took a L. It's weird, man, because this could potentially be my last post-game stream until the fall when we crank back up again, man. So this is really a tough one to do. I went to the game, of course. I was in the building. I ended up sitting in the club level, man. I really got some great seats provided to me. And it was just amazing view. The experience was everything. And the atmosphere. And I just wanted to say that salute to the Carolina Panthers for the great showcase that was put on. I knew the energy was going to be immaculate once they announced that Cam Newton would be hitting the drum, but they really pulled out all the stops. And I think this really changed the narrative. When it's the playoffs, the thing about playoff games is people don't spend a lot of time watching every team out there. Sunday ticket is very expensive, so everybody doesn't get to watch every team. And the Panthers only had one primetime game. And so last week against the Bucks, kind of quasi primetime game, and this week against the Rams was pretty much the only two times that a lot of the general public got to see the Carolina Panthers. And that's just how the playoffs are. I don't watch a lot of these teams on a regular. So what happens in the playoffs is weighted very, very heavily compared to the rest of the year. So if you ball out, it's going to make a lasting impression and shape narratives for the full offseason. If something goes left, something goes right, whether it's the refs, the quarterbacks, a missed play call, a missed field goal, those narratives get painted no matter what happened before. And so I am proud that my favorite team got to put on something on display. I wanted them to compete. That's what I wanted to show these people that they belong. They spent all week talking about how Carolina being 8-9 didn't deserve to be in the playoffs, didn't deserve a home game, didn't deserve this, didn't deserve that. They're not that good. They're just going to lay over and get killed by the Rams. They were 10.5-point underdogs. I am glad that we were able to put on the display a proper performance to show the world what the Carolina Panthers are about and what they're building. And I'm going to start off at the top with the team, because I knew it was going to be hype again. When Cam Newton was going to hit the drum, I knew it was going to be electric. But they brought out even more legends. Thomas Davis, Luke Kuechly, Jonathan Stewart, Steve Smith, Jake Delhomme, Wesley Walls. It was just a star-studded event for Panthers legends. They were all in the building. Even if they didn't get screen time, they were all in the building. And it was just amazing to see how the fans responded and how the team, they did everything. They pulled out all the stops. They had a laser show that was amazing at halftime. The keep pounding chants kept going. They kept the music rocking and rolling as well in the stadium. It was not everybody was on their feet for the majority of the game. It was just, the weather held up. It was just a great atmosphere with the Charlotte skyline in the background. I think it really put on display that the sixth largest stadium in the NFL, Bank of America Stadium, when you fill that up, the energy can be amazing. All I saw on my Twitter timeline was like, man, it's loud in there. Man, it's loud in there. What's going on? Da-da-da-da-da. And the Panthers, shout out to them for giving us something to stay engaged with, to keep cheering about. To get behind them on, to slap our seats, to yell, to wave the towels around our head. Shout out to them for giving us a reason to do that. Because for all the stuff, and I hope the narrative gets changed after these playoffs, because all we hear from the Pat McAfee show is him talking about how somebody was sold their tickets for $2 in 2023. And da-da-da-da. And to be honest, that person was just trying to make a point to go viral and be spiteful. You know what I mean? You just took an L for no reason. It was a monsoon game against the Falcons. At the end of the season, we were 2-15. Any franchise or team, that would have probably been the case if that was it. But they used that as a microcosm to put us fans down. But I was just so happy to see how the narrative can change when you have a national broadcast at primetime game. All 76,000 fans, again, in the sixth largest stadium, were filled. We're standing on their feet. We're yelling, keep pounding. We're cheering on. We're standing up on third downs. We're cheering for touchdowns. It really put on display what this fan base is capable of and what it can be when the product on the field gives us something to be happy about. You know what I mean? Like, who wants to cheer for a sorry team? I get it. I'm going to be there, but most fans aren't going to be like that. It's tough out here. But for us to show that this fan base has the energy, the support, and the enthusiasm to get behind our team in these crucial moments, it meant a lot to me. And I hope it sent a message that the Carolina Panthers fan base is legit, we're real, and we about something, you know? Because we've caught a lot of heat over the past few years about the support or lack thereof that's been there. And I know it's been trying times. Shout out to all the PSL owners that's been holding on through the trying times. Team has been bad, but price is still going up. It's a lot. But yesterday's feeling, man, was just amazing, man. The atmosphere was something, and I know the players felt it. I know the people watching at home felt it. And I know the Rams felt it. It was just something that was electric. And so I'm just hoping that's something that we can continue to build on. Derek Brown himself said it, that even though they didn't win the playoff game, now that this is the standard. This is what they're reaching for. This is what they expect going forward. And I think us fans have to make that same standard as well. We see what we can do when everybody shows up, we get loud, we get behind this team, and we're excited. And we're getting rowdy out there, man. It really played a factor. We were down 14-0, but the enthusiasm from us helped them pull themselves off the mat and get back into the game. The fans were a factor. And so I think that has to be the standard for our fan base going forward. Let's stick beside this team and let's continue to be excited and support them. So I just wanted to open up with that. Let's talk about the game. Offensively, terrible start. 4 and out from midfield. Yo, I was like, all right, Canales, I'm cool on going for it on 4th down from that gray area in the middle. But why didn't we try to run the ball at all on any of those runs? We went 0 for 3 on 4th down, and I know essentially that was the difference in the game because essentially those are turnovers. They may not be a pick or a fumble or something like that, but those are almost like turnovers. Turnovers on downs, those are turnovers. It may not be the same gut punch or huge momentum swing as a turnover because there's something different about actually taking the ball away physically compared to just stopping them on 4th down. But 0 for 3 on 4th down compared to what, 3 for 3 the last time we played the Rams? That was pretty much the difference in the game, it felt like, man. I don't mind him going there and being aggressive because obviously the Rams put up 34 points. You knew you're going to have to score points. We ended up losing 34-31. So, again, these type of decisions are going to come back to be questioned as Canales. But to me, I'm more questioning why didn't you run the ball versus throwing the ball every time. It seemed like every time we tried to roll out and boot, they were ready for it. Bryce got some yards scrambling, but it wasn't much he got just like getting out the back door after a play action fake. You remember he broke that long one last game against them? It seemed like they made it a point to not allow him to do that. You know? So it just felt like every time on 4th down, that's what we did, a play action boot. And nobody was home. Nobody was home every time, man. It was just crazy to me. And then we finally got something kind of clicking a little bit, and then we get the Bryce Young pick. I don't know. I haven't checked the replay yet. I haven't watched the film. I don't know. Some people saying that Coker stopped on his route. Some people saying it was a bad decision by Bryce or bad pass, miscommunication. I don't know. But it just felt like the world was coming to an end. Everything that they told us was going to happen was going to be true. 10.5-point dogs, telling them that we didn't belong. It felt like, man, the haters said we couldn't do it. Good God by the haters. They were right. It felt like that. But again, the fans, we stayed engaged. We stayed with them. We stayed behind them. And they kept pounding. This team is resilient. I'll say that, man. If they ain't nothing else, they're resilient, dog. I'm going to tell you that because you could have hung your head at any point being down 14-0. You know what I mean? Like, because after that pick, they went right back down the field and scored with a short field. And it wasn't pretty, man. But then for Bryce Young to come out in that next drive and just answer at the start of the second quarter, it was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing to march down the field, which there's some key plays, chunk plays to T-Mac, multiple times back-to-back plays, chunk plays to Jalen Coker. And then for Chuba Hubbard to punch it in, man, it just felt like, whew, all right, guys, let's settle in and let's make a play. Let's make plays. And I just, it just still feels like at times, man, this offense just hit dry spells at the wrong time. Because even after that touchdown drive, we ended up punting. And then, of course, you had the ETN at the defense. They finally settled in a little bit, forced the field goal. They forced a 3 and out. But then, of course, we got the ETN fumble. Luckily, the defense had this back and forced a turnover on downs. But my gosh, my worst fear about ETN came true. I have been telling y'all since FanFest, bro is shaky back there catching punts. I hate being right when it's about something negative because it just eats at me. It bothers me. It finally reared its head. Again, you have young guys back there, man. They're gonna make young people mistakes. I don't know. It just feels like if David Moore had been active since you decided not to make him active, even though he came back to practice, then maybe he could catch punts to be safer back there. But I guess ETN had never given them a reason to not be back there, even though he was shaky. But I don't know if the wind was messing with him. He was nervous because the playoffs. Look, man, when it's playoffs, man, it gets real. That's why we want these games for our young team so they can experience that feeling. That feeling of when your stomach churning, it's bubbling, you got butterflies. What Cam used to say, your butt get tight because you're tensed up. I don't know. Crazy Cam used to say that. But he had a point. But again, it's just we hit these lulls with our offense, man. It's just like, golly, where we can't, I don't know. We just can't figure things out. But I'm gonna tell you right now, that drive to go down to get 14 points, where Jalen Coker caught the chunk play. I mean, it was just beautiful. And then Bryce Young, the run, the energy, the enthusiasm he showed after that, man. We never see that much emotion from Bryce. With Cam Newton in the building, he put on the show with his legs. And again, another game where the government, Bryce Young, and look, again, I'm happy about us putting on a show and people actually finally getting to watch the Carolina Panthers. I get it. We're not the most exciting brand of football. So what is the reason why you would watch us on a week-to-week basis if you're a casual fan? But again, the playoffs are a period where everybody's watching. So narratives get shaped based off that. And I'm so glad that Bryce Young put on a performance to prove to the haters, the doubters, the non-believers, the tweet and deleters, that he can play quarterback in this league and he can be the future for the Carolina Panthers. Because you didn't get much help from your running game. 83 yards rushing on 22 carries, including his 24 yards on 3 carries. So between the running backs, you got 13 for 46 from Chuba, 5 for 9 from Rico, and 1 for 4 from ETN. So just not a great day on the run at all. The longest run of the day was 8 yards. And the Rams were just selling out to stop that run. We rushed for 164 yards on them last time. And so it was a lot more balanced. This time, Bryce Young had to do some heavy lifting. He went 21 of 40 for 264 yards, 1 touchdown throwing, 1 touchdown rushing, 1 interception. He was sacked twice. I heard that the Rams had 29 pressures. So Bryce Young, with all this, with America watching, pressure coming from everywhere, he really he made a statement to prove the doubters wrong. They thought he had a noodle arm. He doesn't push the ball down the field. What did he do? He pushed the ball down the field. A lot of the playoffs is just about the eye test, man. The numbers, 21 of 40, that's not a great percentage, but it's the eye test. His average depth of target was 9.4 yards. He was pushing the ball down the field. They said he couldn't do it. They said it was too small. And he wasn't really super athletic. He ran around. He had a nice scramble. He hit the linebacker with a little Sierra 1-2 step to get into the end zone. Putting stuff on tape to prove the doubt is wrong and make some people believers out of him. This is where the narratives and stuff get pushed and shaped, for better or for worse. And so I'm glad Bryce Young put a type of performance like this together to really prove to some people what he's capable of. So shout out to Bryce Young. But I would be remiss to talk about this. The Carolina Panthers have a nice duo at wide receiver. I'm going to say, I might go a little bit further. I might even go a little bit too far when I say this. But the Carolina Panthers may have the best young duo of wide receivers in the league right now. When you're talking about sub 25 years old, who has a core or duo like they have of what we just saw tonight? Jalen Coker, 9 catches, 134 yards and a touchdown. Tedero McMillan, 5 catches, 81 yards. If Bryce Young was dropping back to pass, it was going to be Coker in money time. He led the team in targets, led the team in receptions, and led the team in yards. This brother was an undrafted free agent. Nobody picked him. Nobody. Undrafted free agent. And I'm glad the world got to see what we know about Jalen Coker. I think the Coke heads have grown overnight just because of him making these type of plays. He had red zone work. He had yak. He had the deep ball drawing interferences. They put him in a slot. It was just everywhere he went, they could not mess with him. T-Mac, Offensive Rookie of the Year, whether it was an RPO catching in the middle of the field, a crossing route, or even setting picks on routes for Jalen Coker. This dynamic duo was putting it all on display. And it's just the Rams, it's just a bad matchup for them. We have a decisive advantage on the outside against the Rams corners. They're just too small. Big bank take little bank. And we got Jalen Coker and we got T-Mac. And so we just got whatever we wanted between the two of those guys. And it was a beautiful thing to see. Seeing these guys grow before our eyes. I'm telling you, Jalen Coker put some stuff on display, and he could probably make an argument soon and very soon. That he was probably, he's one of the more underrated receivers in the league, bar none. But out of that receiver class, if he had a full body of work in the full season, and we can, as wide receiver 2, who knows what the narratives could be? Because some of these guys in that 2024 class ain't living up to what they're supposed to do. But Jalen Coker, who everybody was drafted higher than him, is really showing something. He's really showing something, man. He damn near catches everything. He damn near catches everything. The brother don't miss. He don't miss. And I'm going far enough to say that if Jalen Coker never hurt his quad and missed the first 6 weeks of the season, the Carolina Panthers season would have been a whole different ball game. No way we lose to the Cardinals when we had the ball with 1 minute left in that final drive if we had Jalen Coker. No way. I'm even willing to say we may beat the Jags because we had Hunter Renfrow out there who had a drop on a long, deep pass that could have potentially gotten the end zone or got us in the scoring position. That game, even though it was ended up being a decisive score at the end, there was a point in the game where it was kind of waning before it got away from us. That if you have a guy like Jalen Coker there, maybe he can make some plays to flip the game in your favor. What I saw Saturday night, that gives me the confidence to say some stuff like that may sound a little delusional. I'm sorry. Because what Jalen Coker did cannot be ignored, and it deserves all the praise in the world. I'm just happy this guy finally got to put it on display. They could not touch him. On the plays he did not get the ball or get a target, he was cooking Forbes. He was cooking Durant. they kept telling us, oh, Quentin Lake, he didn't play last time. Quentin Lake, he didn't play last time. That's why you guys got so much through the air and through the run game. Quentin Lake was in hell. Jalen Coker had Quentin Lake in hell. The dude probably gave up at least 70 yards through the air to Coker. And that's not even including the 37-yard PI. The brother was going to work. It didn't matter who they lined up. Again, we just had a decisive advantage on the outside with our dynamic duo, and it just gave me great confidence. If you ain't got the physical corners to play up with these guys, it could be a long day. Look, you add a little gadget guy with some speed and wiggle that can make guys miss in space, but also has enough speed to take the top off. And this wide receiver core could be scary, scary, scary for years to come. It could be. It could be. And it's a big part of the reason why Bryce Young was able to play so well in the playoff game. But I'm glad they were able to put that on display. But again, Rico Dowdle, he didn't seem a little happy to get out carried by Chuba Hubbard, but 5 carries, 9 yards when you had 8 yards and 1 carry, so you had 4 other carries. They only got 1 yard. Not ideal, man. And so Chuba out carried him. He didn't have much either. He only averaged 3.5 yards per carry, but he had 2 touchdowns, man. He had 2 touchdowns. He seemed to be hungry. He ran a lot hungrier. He wanted it more. The moment, he wanted the moment. He's been here through the pain and suffering under Matt Rule. And so he just ran like he was hungry. We always wanted the hot hand, and he seemed to be the hot hand. Ran with a little bit more pop, a little more decisiveness. It wasn't much, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But this offense, man, to put up 31 points, obviously they got some help from the block punt. They got good field position from Mike Jack getting that pick. They just had some rough lulls. But, I mean, you're dropping 30 on a potential Super Bowl favorite. What can you say, man? Canales, the only thing is just about running the ball, man. The play calling, it's just about running the ball. The only thing I'll probably say, man, is like down the stretch in terms of coaching, before we threw the touchdown pass to Jalen Coker, should the Carolina Panthers have ran the football on those downs? Because first down, it was because obviously third down we threw the ball. It was like 2 minutes and 43 seconds left when we gave the ball back to Matthew Stafford with 3 timeouts. Way too much time was on the clock. Should the Carolina Panthers have decided to run the football? You know, because just to burn some clock or at least make them use some timeouts. Because, listen to this. We get the ball to the block punt. Bryce throws a pass to T-Mac. We get down to the 14. We run on first down. Chuba gets 7 yards. So a 2nd and 3 from the 7. Instead of running the football where we probably could have got a first down, you throw an incomplete pass on a play action where they were ready for the boot and somebody obviously came out the edge, you tip the pass, the clock stops. 2:47. And it's 3rd down and 3. I'm fine with throwing to the end zone. I don't want to be greedy about getting the touchdown, but all I could think about was we left too much time on the clock for Matthew Stafford. As much and as well as our defense has started playing in the second half, putting up a valiant effort, I know we have no pass rush. I know J.C. Horn is hurt. I have to think about burning some clock there and ending the game with the ball in my hand or leaving them little to no time or at least no timeouts. You left them the ability to run their regular offense with 2 minutes and 43 seconds left and 3 timeouts. But obviously we weren't running our regular defense, playing a little bit softer, giving them everything underneath like they didn't have much time. Time wasn't anybody's friend. But they just had way too many things going in their favor that you almost knew that they were going down the field to do that. And even if you don't run the clock out and burn it there, why not start using timeouts as they start moving the ball down? Why not start using timeouts? Just one timeout. You took 3 timeouts on. What are you going to do? Is that going to help us in week 1 next year? You can't take timeouts with you into next year. So why not burn them at some point? in the second half of a one possession game, you don't use any timeouts, not to like get your mind right, not to like corral the troops or like take a breath, guys, let's lock in. Nothing. And that's part of the gripes that people have. I have no problem with Dave Canales as a play caller. He's young, he's growing. But the balance of being able to be head coach and play caller, manage the game with timeouts, decision making on the fourth downs, that's the stuff that's going to be a work in progress. And that's the stuff that really grinds my gears, and it makes me think that, okay, hey, is doing both too much for you? Because again, it should have been 3 straight runs. After Chuba got 7 yards on first down, it's 2nd and 3 from the 7. Run the ball again. And then at that point, if they don't call timeout, it's getting down to the 2-minute warning. And it's going to be 3rd and short. If he gets no gain, it's 3rd and 3 at the 2-minute warning. At least you get that out the way. But even if he doesn't, let's say he gets it down, it's 4th and 1. He gets 2 yards. It's 4th and 1. Well, it's 4th and 1. It's 3rd and 1. You can run it on 3rd down again. It's 4 down territory. Most likely. You got to play to win. You don't settle for the points there, do you? Maybe not. But it's 1 yard. So you run it again, and after the 2-minute warning, you burn more time off the clock. They either got to use the timeout or whatever, because you can convert from there. And then if you're inside the 3 or the 4, whatever we needed to get the first down, you can burn more clock. So I'm just thinking in my head, like, hey, I would have been like, hey, okay, T-Mac, chunk play, we get down. Let's not score too quick. That's what I'm thinking. Matthew Stafford's on the other side. We have no pass rush. Our best corner is out of the game currently. We get 7 yards on first down. Tick, 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 tick. Why play action and dump it off? Incomplete pass. Fine. The clock stops. What? That's the difference, man. That little stuff, it can get you beat. You have to know who's on the other side of the football. And I get you want to have this supreme confidence, because even last time, it was very eerily similar to previously when we played them, when we had the lead. We took the lead with about, 4 minutes left or so, and they moved the ball down. We just happened to get a delay of game, and then Derrick Brown actually got pressure from the front 4, sack fumble on Matthew Stafford, even though they were moving the ball, and we ended the game there. We iced the game out. But this time, we bent and we broke. But I just think we left too much time. I think, again, that's just Canales being a little bit too young. You got to realize who's on the other side of the football. MVP candidate. Been in these type of scenarios for forever. One of the better fourth quarter game-winning drive quarterbacks in league history. I would have ran the ball 3 straight times. After getting 7 yards running on first down, come on, man. Come on. Run it again. Get it to the 2-minute warning. Run it again on 3rd down. You either get stopped and they got to take a timeout because the clock is running, and you're at the 5-yard line, and you need it's 3rd and 1. And if you get another first down, you get another set of downs. And then they got to use their timeouts because you're inside of the 3, and they have timeouts, but as the 2-minute warning is gone, you could have burned even more clock and then left them really high and dry because they needed a touchdown. So it's not like they just needed a few yards to get a field. No, they needed to drive the full field on you. So you drain as much clock as possible. Leaving 2 minutes and 43 seconds left with a 2-minute warning for Matthew Stafford, they ran their regular offense. So, and then we didn't use any timeouts on their drive as they moved the ball. It's just, this is all the stuff that's going through my brain when we lose these playoff games. I'm going back and I'm overthinking every little decision that happened during the game. But that's just that, man. Icky got hurt. That was tough. We had to put in Yash. Icky's out for a minute. It's going to be a tough. We'll talk about that in the offseason video, but Icky going out was tough. Big Rob came back, though. He missed a little bit of time, but he gutted it out. But Icky being out was bad, man. It's bad. Patellar tendon rupture, that's not good, man. It's not good, man. Again, this is something we'll talk about, but you hate to see it, man. You hate to see it for Big Ick. You hate to see it for Big Ick. But I thought we did some good things through the air with Jalen Coker and Bryce Young and T-Mac. XL, I don't know, man. I don't know where he got to go have to get anywhere to fit in next year. But I think it's clear and obvious that we have our dynamic duo. Defense. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. He gave up a lot. 304 yards passing to Matthew Stafford. Gave up 116 yards rushing. Never gave up the explosive run like before, so that was good. Like no runs over 10 yards, which is good, but it just felt like death by 1,000 paper cuts when they wanted to. And then they got a little pass happy. They did get a little pass happy, but that's just McVay's nature. He wants to sling the ball around. They threw the ball 42 times, ran it 29, including 2 carries by Stafford. That's what they want to do. They want to throw the football around. They get antsy and anxious, and they just don't have the discipline. A lot of these play callers don't have the discipline to run the ball consistently and be stubborn and stick with it. Pass happy. But Matthew Stafford knew where to throw the ball. I'm looking at these numbers, man. We got killed in the seams. Of his 42 attempts, 30 of them were between the numbers. He wasn't testing those outside corners in J.C. Horn and Mike Jack. I'm ready to say that we may have the best cornerback duo in the league. It's definitely top 3. And I know the Texans, they got them ones. They got them a nice little pair in Stingley and Lassiter. But the way Mike Jack playing and the way J.C. Horn playing, I'm ready to be delusional about where they rank in the top 3. I'm just saying. Mike Jack gave up 1 catch, and it was on the final drive of the game. And it hurt. But he was locked down all night. No catches given up to Devontae Adams. He had a pick on him. A pass breakup. Playing the run game. These dudes are long. They're physical. And they match up well with a lot of guys. They don't travel. J.C. Horn did travel in the slot a little bit because they had Puka hiding in the slot since he couldn't get separation on the outside. And so they try to adjust. But Mike Jackson played the game of his life. Everybody knows that J.C. Horn is that type of guy. So according to the numbers, Mike Jackson is the highest targeted player on this team. That's why he led the league in pass breakups, because he gets a lot of action, but he steps up to the plate and makes plays on the ball. Again, he's long, he's lengthy, he likes to click and close playing off. But when you have, he has his lumps. He's not perfect, because if you have some speed guys, he's not a long speed guy. You can run away from him if he's playing up in your face, even if he's playing off and you have a speed guy. We saw Waddle do that to him against the Dolphins. But if you don't have a decisive speed advantage against Mike Jack and you're his speed or slower, like a Puka, like a Devontae, it's going to be a long day because he can sit on a lot of the stuff you're doing. But he's also good enough staying on top of stuff and squeezing you to the sideline. The plays that he made guarding Puka Nacua, the plays that he made guarding Devontae Adams, some of this stuff was just teach tape. It was just perfect teach tape. Being disciplined, being comfortable with the ball in the air, being comfortable with your back to the football, being comfortable keying the quarterback and the receiver, route recognition. He said that he told Devontae that he knew a route that was going to run and he was going to get a pick. He said he saw it on film during the game they ran a couple weeks before. And he told Devontae earlier in the game. And he made good on that pick. Mike Jack is playing some serious ball. I'm glad we inked him up for a team-friendly deal. I think Dan Morgan deserves a lot of credit. This may be one of the better trades that we've seen in Carolina Panthers history. For you to trade a 7th-round draft pick player to the Seahawks for Mike Jack, and then that player that you traded, that you gave up, never touched the field, doesn't even play for them anymore, And then Mike Jack, all he does in his first year with you is start every game, have 15 pass breakups. Mind you, he came after preseason. And he started every game for the Panthers. Did the same thing this year and led the NFL in pass breakups. Not even that, he actually added picks as well. He caught a lot of flack for that drop pick against the Packers, but he ain't dropped much since. I'm going to tell you that. Mike Jackson has shown up to play. What he put on display last night against the Rams, we haven't seen a performance from a guy like Michael Jackson since maybe the Bad album. We have not seen a performance from Mike Jackson that good since the Bad album. This brother showed up to play, and that's the type of guys I want on my team. That's the type of guys I want on my team. We have a nice duo. We just got to figure out the inside. Again, Matthew Stafford only attempted 30 of his 42 attempts went between the numbers. He was not trying to throw at J.C. Horn and Mike Jack. Ironically enough, the game-winning touchdown passes outside the numbers, but it wasn't Mike Jack or J.C. Horn. They showed up to play. We only pressured them 9 times on 9 dropbacks. It's horrible. That's the thing about the playoffs. You're going to need to be able to close these games out. If you don't have a pass rush, you're playing with one hand tied behind your back. Not to mention you got bad linebacker play. Your nickel corner shaky, trying to guard a perennial slot receiver, because Puka ain't no outside receiver like that. He eats in the slot. And that's exactly what our weak spot is. In the slot. And again, you have no pass rush. What do you expect? I know people are mad at Evero, but if we can't get pressure, he tried to rush. When we did get pressure, he didn't complete a pass, but we only got pressure 9 times on Stafford. We tried to blitz. He would get the ball out before. We tried to blitz from the trip side on that game-winning drive. He got the ball out right there underneath. You can't really blitz Matthew Stafford, man. He's too smart. He's seen them all. You're leaving guys vulnerable in coverage when we're not good in the middle anyway with our linebackers. There's just not a lot of levers and buttons to push when you don't have good linebackers that can cover in the middle of the field and you don't have a pass rush. I know we're beating up on Evero, and I'm a little, but to me, it's about 65-35. Yeah, that final drive was less than ideal. You hate them playing so far off with all that time left on the clock. But you're down J.C. Horn. You know what I mean? You only got 1 sack on the day, and that came from a guy that was on the 49ers practice squad a couple months ago. You don't have a ton in the cupboard to be able to get after the passer. So sending extra blitzes is not going to do anything, but leave your coverage even more vulnerable. It's just tough. What do you want the defensive coordinator to do? And I don't want to even come off as a Vero truther, but again, it's going to take us improving the personnel and getting a certified dog that can get home off the edge and maybe one in the middle as well. I don't know what that looks like, whether it's the draft, whether it's change of philosophy, bringing in a different D-line coach, free agency. But you're not going to be able to close out games against these guys unless you're able to get pressure. Pressure makes a pipe burst. And we only pressured him 9 of his 42 dropbacks. That's just not going to cut it against the MVP. Not good enough. Not good enough. Puka Nacua, 10 catches, 111 yards. Devontae Adams, 5 for 72. Higbee, 2 for 45. Parkinson, 2 for 34. Hell, you even saw Blake Corum score that. Kyron Williams score, routing up Sherlis, our linebackers. Like, dude, we're on linebacker 3 and 4. Like, bro, it's only so much that you can do as a defensive coordinator, man. It's only something. Like, I understand they competed. They got some stops during the game at times. But, man, every time the defense goes on the field, I'm worried. And so it's just, look, man, it's not ideal. But it seems like they're sticking with Evero. They're going to give him another offseason to add some more pieces, and they're going to try to rock and roll. I'm willing to give him one more year with a very much improved pass rush, hopefully, and see what this defense can be. Because if our secondary is doing all this with coverages, with no help from the pass rush, what do you think they're going to do when we actually get a half-decent pass rush? We ain't got to be elite. I don't even need no transformation like the Falcons did, where they went from worst to first. I just need to get the middle of the pack and watch us rock and roll overall in terms of that pass rush. But Nick Scott, he got beat down the seam that one time. It just looked like it was cover 3. Just went, I don't know why he jumped. It wasn't even close. I did like that hit stick that he had on Devontae on the sideline. I'm a little mad they called it defenseless. I know he caught him in the helmet a little bit, but they said defenseless receiver on the announcement. Back in my day, they would let a hit like that ride. They would let a hit like that ride and told Devontae to pick up his teeth. They would have told Devontae to go ahead and look for your teeth on the sideline. We got more football to play. Back in my day. But now, you can't do nothing but play patty cake with these wide receivers. So, it is what it is from that standpoint. But Nick Scott played physical. You know, it's a revenge game for him going against his former team. I haven't watched the tape, but I know he had a rough couple reps. But generally, Nick Scott plays solid football. Does he come back with Evero coming back? Probably, maybe for cheap. But I'm still drafting the safety. I know Evero don't like to play young guys, because a lot of communication. So I think Nick Scott comes back because he wants to be a part of what we're building. He's going to get first dibs at a starting spot, but draft the safety on day 2. And let's implement him into the system. That way he can be the heir apparent to play free safety. Ransom is more that robber, drop down to the box type of guy at times. He's not as rangy, in my opinion, to play that deep center field safety. In my opinion, obviously he can grow and develop, but that's just what I think. But we got to get a nickel, man. We can't be soft on the inside. That's where all the good receivers play now. They play in the slot. We got to get playmakers. We got to get guys that can blitz very, very well. I'm looking at a guy like Keontae Scott from Miami. That's 5 sacks. He blitzes all the time. He's feisty. He's physical. Give me somebody like that. That's just all I'm saying. We need a nickel. You need a nickel. A nickel cornerback is a starting position in the NFL nowadays. Everybody runs 3 wide receiver sets, so you have to have your base defense is nickel. It's just kind of the way it is. So we need a starting caliber one there. I feel good about Thornton on the outside as depth. Would have loved to have him in for J.C. Horn when J.C. Horn went out with that concussion. But I just don't want to learn on the fly type of guy like Corey Thornton, who's never really played nickel outside of the few spots he did for us this year, or he was okay. But there's just a lot to learn there. I want a guy that's smart and instinctual that's used to playing there. Keontae Scott, that's just my guy. We'll see. They're a draft crush. All that being said, 1 sack on the day. Gave up a lot of yards passing, 304 yards passing. We have to find a way to get pressure, man. I thought they settled in. I thought the pick was huge. I thought the turnover on downs that they forced was huge after the ETN front punt. I mean, for about 3.5 quarters, man, the defense played is good. You cannot ask for too much more for what the defense did. Obviously, the ETN stuff put them in a bad spot. The Bryce Young fumble put them in a rough spot as well, and they scored off of that. Those are the differences in the game. But when they had a long field to drive, the Panthers defense play about as good as you could expect them to play against the number 1 offense in the league. They did. So I got to give Ejiro credit there and the defense credit there. But they just got put in inopportune spots. But again, at the end of the game, if you do not have pass rushers, especially in the playoffs, you're not going to be able to make it that far. Because as the rounds continue to go further and further, you're going to face nothing but better quarterbacks. And the only way to neutralize a lot of the elites is by getting consistent pressure. Time and time again, we see pressure. Flustered Mahomes. It flushed Stafford against the dang Falcons. We saw Herbert getting roughed up by the Patriots. Like pressure makes a pipe burst. And so if you don't got them dogs that can get home consistently, it's going to cap the ceiling of your defense. And I've been telling y'all that for months. For months. That our defense, as improved as they are, they were going to be capped because they had the lack of pass rush. It is. Because certain quarterbacks just going to be able to carve you up because they're going to have all day. And that's exactly what happened on that final drive. They just took what was there underneath. Playing softer, I get it. But they went towards the middle of the field. It wasn't like, and the thing is, having JC might have helped because maybe you travel and put him in a slot. But for the most part, they were going at our linebackers, the nickel, and just the underneath coverage in the middle. And JC Horn ain't doing too much to stop that. Yeah, I know Puka had that one long catch. That was on Mike Jack. I'll live and die with Mike Jack on Puka. It is what it is. I'll live and die with that matchup. Whatever happens, happens. But our linebacker play is just so subpar, bro. It's going to always be our Achilles heel. It's going to always be our Achilles heel. But again, thank God for having two good corners. And of course, as soon as this stuff starts to happen, he's the best cornerback on the team. He's been playing way better than JC this year. Why do we do this as a fan base? Why? They act like two legends cannot coexist. As a great philosopher, Jermaine said. Listen to the great philosopher Jermaine. He said that you act like two legends cannot coexist. They can coexist together. Why does one person have to be the number one guy? Why does this guy have to be the number one guy? Why they're just a great duo that has a good relationship that gets the job done. It's unfortunate that JC went out with a concussion injury. It just sucks, man. Because I'm thinking about when we needed him against the Bucs in 2022. He got friendly fire, just like in the game. He hurt his wrist. He couldn't play against the Bucs. We lost the chance to go to the playoffs then. This time, he gets hurt, get a concussion. Can't be in the final drive. May or may not have made a difference with them going across the middle of the field. But again, just another missed opportunity without him on the field because of friendly fire. This is going to be a tough one for me to swallow, bro. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be a tough one for me to swallow. It is. Rosebloom had 9 tackles. Sherlis had 9 total. Nick had 9 total. B had 5. Mo Rig only had 3. Mike Jack had 3 and a pick. Ashawn had 3. Wanham had 5. So, look, man. I know we all love to hate a Jerry Vero, Milt the Head, Lil Bill, Mr. Clean, whatever y'all want to call him. I know y'all do. But we got to get a pass rush to get a real full evaluation. We get a pass rush, I think it could be a little bit better. Pat Jones will be coming back. That's an injury that killed us as well. He provides rush versatility inside and out. And so we got some work to do. But I'm just proud of what the team was able to do. We'll talk about the future and moving forward and reflecting at a later date. I'm reflecting on the game. I'm not a big moral victory type of guy, man, because like I'm greedy. Once you dangle that carrot in my face, I'm on it. Once you dangle that carrot in my face, I'm greedy. I'm on it. So don't show me nothing that I can't have, man. Dang. I'm going to be sick about this one, man. I am. I'm going to be sick about this one. And the way it ended, too. 4 plays, no completions, a Jimmy Horn drop, 2 pressures, like almost immediately. I'm not gonna lie. 3 timeouts, we got the ball 38 seconds. I still had faith. It's doable. But I just couldn't tell if like, was it a case like the Cardinals again where we sent everybody deep? I gotta watch tape. Did we go deep with all the routes and like not give him anything underneath? Or did they just continue to heat us up to the point that we couldn't even do anything? But Jimmy was open. He just didn't turn his hands over. He wanted to stay up, should have slid, trapped it. Sometimes it's good to catch with your body. Hands catching ain't everything. But just such an anticlimactic way to end it. It was very, very deflating. Again, this team has some lulls on offense when we don't need it to, man. It's just, oh gosh, it's frustrating. So we got to find some level of consistency this offseason, man. We're going to have a lot of time to reflect and self-scout. Because, like, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like it should have been us. And I just don't know if anything next year, I mean, we don't know. It's not promised. Obviously, you see Icky got hurt. Injuries can derail your whole season. You just never know. We had a lot of stuff derail us. We see how many guards we play. Robert Hunt being gone. Sheesh. But it could always be something. A couple years ago, JC being out, that hurt. This year, Rob Hunt, him being out, it hurt. Last year, Derek Brown being hurt. Killed us. Monumental failure. And so things can happen on a year-by-year basis. You just never know. So all that, oh, you guys you'll be back next year. You have something to build on. Maybe. And maybe it's going to take me at the offseason of seeing some draft picks, getting excited about free agency before we lock back in and get pushing there. But I don't know. But I'm glad we were able to put a performance on tape that we can be proud of as fans. It was electric in the bank, man. I want to get that feeling back again. I hope the players feel the same. I hope the players want to get that feeling back again of us cheering for them crazy. Again, we don't need it to be a playoff game to be able to do that. But in this economy, good luck. Good luck getting people to pay for that. I'm just saying. Them Panthers tickets be expensive, man. I'm just being honest. Compared to some of these other places, they be expensive. I'm just being honest. It is. It is. So, I don't know. But I just thought it was poetic, man. That block punt, isn't it almost poetic? I wanted us to win it so bad, man. Like, the narratives would have been so crazy. Bryce Young outdoors Matthew Stafford to win his first playoff game. Thanks to Isaiah Simmons, former Clemson product, who a lot of fans were debating on drafting him or Derek Brown in the same class, made the punt block that brought us right back in the game. And granted, there was a point in the game that Nick Scott had a pick in his hands, and it was good defense by Puka to knock it out. But, man, had he caught that with 11 minutes left, we were up 4. Man, listen. The football guys, I feel like they always give you like a window when you're down early to come back. I think that Puka Nacua drop in the first half was just what the doctor ordered. It hit him in the face, bro. That was a play after Matthew Stafford hurt his finger. They were making all kind of excuses and copping pleas for it, whatever. He dropped a dot in the Puka Nacua. He wasn't hurt. He wasn't hurt. We don't believe you. We don't. But yeah, man, it's. I just wish we were able to pull this off for the guys. The confidence it would have been. It wouldn't have been another. We were playing the Bears. We wouldn't be having another home game because San Fran won, but we needed the Packers to win so we could host another home game. But the Packers kicker can't make a field goal. It probably helps me feel a little bit better because knowing that had we actually won, we would have had another playoff game. And I may not be better to afford it because they don't get nothing but more expensive. But I would have did what I had to do, I guess, to support the team. But I'm excited, man. Y'all let me know if y'all went to the game. Shout out to everybody I saw, man, at the tailgates and stuff, man. It was cool. I'll try to work on dropping that vlog about the game day experience sometime soon. Ain't got nothing but time. But I want to get it while it's still fresh on your minds. So appreciate it. But hey, man, love y'all. See y'all. Appreciate y'all. Peace.